Hey you guys, it's Crystal from the Abundantly Blessed Homestead. We are live. It is Tuesday night, 5:15. I'm going to leave the cell phone right where it's at and try and angle it down so you guys can see because I've had horrible cell phone reception today. So I'm hoping the video will come through clear if I just leave it in the one spot. We'll see. So tonight we're going to be making the taco sourdough skillet. This is a quick recipe that's pretty awesome. It's inside my cookbook. If you haven't grabbed my cookbook yet, the link is down below. And there's been a price drop on the cookbook. I dropped the price. You do still have to pay for shipping, but I dropped the price down because I want it to be affordable for those people who have been holding out on getting the cookbook and or those who have just found out about the cookbook through the latest Nourishing Traditions quarterly journal. So if you've been holding out, you haven't purchased yet, the link is down below and there has been a discount applied in the shop. So go check that out. But the recipe for tonight is on page 97 of my cookbook. It's called Taco Sourdough Skillet. And like I said, this is a quick meal. So we're going to get started making the meal, and then I actually have some questions that have been submitted to me to go over on the live, so I'm going to get to that. So let's angle you guys down. If you have the ability to comment and let me know that the live stream is coming through clearly, please do so, because I have no idea, and like I said, I've had horrible cell phone reception today. So let me know if it looks good, if you can. Okay, so tonight, this is a huge 14-inch sourdough skillet. I mean, it's big, okay, guys? If you do not have a 14-inch sourdough skillet, you sure could use a 13x9 pan, okay? This is what I'm going to be using tonight because I have one. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it. This is a huge pan, and I have a small burner. What a problem to have. So I'm going to go ahead and usually I don't turn my cast iron over medium, but I'm going to go medium-high heat with this pan just because it takes forever to heat this pan up because it's so much larger than my stovetop burner, okay? I'm also going to go ahead and preheat my oven to 400 degrees and move the rack of my oven up to the medium position. The rack was down lower because I was soaking or rising sourdough bread in my Dutch oven the other day, so it needs more clearance. So had to move that on up. Okay. So then the next thing I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to add some lard to my pan. My pan's really, really dry. If yours is nice and seasoned, you don't need to do this step. We're just going to add some lard and let it start to melt. When it comes to cast iron and cooking meat in cast iron, you always want to make sure your cast iron is preheated before you add any sort of raw meat, because otherwise that raw meat will stick. It doesn't matter what meat you put in there. If it's a cold pan with cold meat and you heat it up with the meat in there, it's going to stick to your cast iron. So we're just going to let that preheat while we chop up our other ingredients. So 1 yellow onion. I hope everybody's doing well. It's gorgeous weather here. I've started planting potatoes out in the garden. And the goats are out on pasture. Hey, Sharon. I'm just glad my live stream's coming through okay because I had the YouTube app on my phone not working this afternoon and some pretty bad reception issues. So I thought, gee, I wonder if I'll even be able to go live. Because every time I opened the app, it just shut off. So that was fun. Anyway, you can go ahead and chop your onion to whatever size is your preference. If I was cooking for my husband, there would be no onion. But for him, I will go ahead and dice it in a little bit smaller pieces than what I typically would for myself. Because I know he doesn't approve of onion chunks. Hey, Jackie. I think everybody's having some sort of technical issues tonight. It's kind of crazy. So this is definitely preheating. That's what we need. There we go. Next ingredient is 2 garlic cloves. Like I said, this is super fast, especially if you have sourdough starter. This is just a really quick meal. If you don't have sourdough starter, there's a link down below, and I will mail you some of mine. It's less scary than what you think. Especially with this recipe. This recipe you can use bubbly starter, like I have right here. I fed my starter this morning, so it's nice and bubbly. Or, because this recipe does have baking powder in it, you can totally use starter that you forgot to feed into the fridge that's totally deflated. Works good either way. Alright, I'm going to get a utensil to stir with. And then we're going to add our meat next, which is 2 pounds of ground beef. Once again, this is a huge 14-inch cast iron skillet. If you don't have one, you can use a 14x9 pan. So the only thing that I've done ahead of time for this recipe is I cooked my black beans. If you're short on time, you can also buy canned black beans, but obviously the benefit to making your own is you can soak and ferment them and unlock all of that nutrition for your family. And the meal will fill them up faster. I'm going to go wash my hands. I'll be right back. Okay. Talk while it cooks, shall we? So, had a couple questions this week. The first one was a question about cavities. It actually came in today. I'm going to turn this pot down a little bit. And the question was, how do you prevent cavities that are in the cracks of your teeth or in between your teeth or fill in the blank? So my answer to that is the same way you prevent all cavities. So nutrition, and if you are interested in that, you can look into my entire playlist on cavities. This phone is like angled down. I have an entire playlist on healing cavities. So if that's something you're interested in, go check that out. But it's the same protocol, no matter if your cavities are on your front of your teeth, behind your teeth, between your teeth, in the cracks of your teeth. It's all cavities, okay? So go check out that playlist. The second question I had come in was about, in my cookbook, the, let me pull it up. The 2 soaked oatmeal bake recipes that I have. And they were wondering why I have rye flour as one of the ingredients. Is it necessary in the oatmeal bake? So let's talk about that. So we're going to be soaking the oatmeal starting the night before. And when you soak oatmeal with water in an acidic medium of your choice, it actually doesn't break down a ton of the phytic acid. So I think the numbers that I read a while ago was like under 20% is actually broke down in that regular soaking process. But when you add other grains that are high in the enzyme called phytase, that helps to neutralize that phytic acid even more. And I think the number, now don't quote me, but I think the number I read a few years ago was up to 80% removed. So it's a huge difference. So that's why my cookbook calls for the rye flour. If I could choose it for you, I would. But that is why it's inside the oatmeal recipes inside my cookbook. And then, like I said at the beginning, if you haven't bought the cookbook yet, there has been a price drop on the cookbook. I want to make it more available, especially since the Wesleyan Price Foundation just did a book review on it, and there's going to be some more interest into the book. So the price has been dropped. You still have to pay for shipping, but it's lower than what it was before. So if you've been holding out on not purchasing the cookbook, now is a great time on the sale. The link is down below, okay? Now I got to open it back up to the page we're on. All right. And we're going to get to cooking. Page 97 of the cookbook, all right? Do I have a sister? No, Anthony, man, we already talked about that. Remember, you asked me if I had a sister, and I said, no, that I only have a brother, and he's straight. So, it's still the same. My parents stopped having children many years ago. All right, so we're just going to keep moving this around and chopping it till it is fully cooked. Okay, we're going to go ahead and start on, yes, Anthony, I have a really good memory, even when I'm tired. All right, we're going to go ahead and make the topping for this because it's super fast. Actually, hang on, we're going to add one more ingredient to this. So while this is cooking, we're going to go ahead and add taco seasoning. If you don't know how to make this, the recipe is up here on the channel, but also inside my cookbook. Super cheap and a lot healthier than those packets with the weird ingredients in them. So we need 3 tablespoons of taco seasoning. There we go. All right. Thanks for the compliment, though, Anthony. I appreciate it. All right. So we've got a bowl. We're going to go ahead and mix the. It's going to be poured right into this pan here in just a few minutes. So, like I said, the first thing we need is a sourdough starter. It does not have to be bubbly. Can be starving to death with the black liquid on the top. It doesn't matter, okay? We need 3 cups of it, though. This was one of the first recipes that I made that I actually felt comfortable making because sourdough can be so intimidating. All right. So there's 1 cup. And this sourdough skillet can be transformed into a lot of things. You wouldn't have to do a taco base. You could totally do like a chicken pot pie base. I have a recipe just on the other side in my cookbook here for a barbecue sourdough skillet. So it's like barbecue meat and stuff in the bottom. It's really good. You can almost put anything in the bottom. Anything that's good with like a bread crust on top. Okay. 3 cups. Ta-da! Okay, next ingredient for the topping is 6 eggs. Let me grab my compost container. 6 eggs. These are nice golden farm fresh yolks. You guys can see that on the camera. Happy chickens! No, 1 more. Ta-da! Gonna wipe off my counter because I have egg yolk here. There we go. So we have 3 cups of sourdough starter, 6 eggs. We need 1 teaspoon of salt. Now we want healthy salt, which is what my cookbook mentions multiple times. You're looking for colored salt. The reason why it's healthier than other salt that's white is that all that color in there are minerals that help your body to handle salt properly. So we want colored salt. You could even do like a gray salt as long as it's not white table salt. 1 teaspoon. 4 teaspoons of baking powder. So this is what's going to make it fluffy. That's why it doesn't matter what you use for a starter because it's going to end up bubbling anyway. The next ingredient is 6 tablespoons of coconut oil. We're obviously going to want this to be soft, so if it's soft, I'll probably put it on the back burner back there. Yeah, I think we're going to have to melt it. Just still a little chilly in the house. I've kind of gotten lazy with starting fires at night, and if it's warm enough, then it's warm enough. I'm over the winter. I'm ready for spring. But see, last night it got down below freezing again too, so. The coconut oil says, it's still winter. That's probably it. Okay. That was 6 tablespoons of coconut oil. I'm going to go ahead and warm up this back burner. You could use other meat too. You could use ground chicken or even shredded chicken in this. Shredded beef, leftovers from a roast or something would be good in this. All those possibilities would be delicious. Bottom base is almost done. That's how fast that comes together. I don't make this recipe enough. I really should. Sometimes I just use sourdough for breakfast, and so sourdough ends up taking a back seat for the rest of the meals. Okay, Anthony, sorry I missed your question, honey. Is $97 for a 25-pound bag of organic einkorn a good deal? I have no idea because I've actually never bought einkorn. Are you talking about like einkorn berries or already ground up einkorn? Because that'll make a huge difference. I've actually never gotten into einkorn. I got started with regular hard wheats for my sourdough and like never kind of explored anything else. Okay, so our coconut oil is melting. Just gonna pour off, well, measure it, huh? Hang on, just a tablespoon. 6 tablespoons. Gonna have some extra, which means I'm gonna need a container to put it in. Just use an oversized coffee mug, see? Okay. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and just stir this real good. You could do this in a mixer as well. I kind of got in the habit of like not using my mixer when I normally would when I owned my KitchenAid and was really disappointed in their product. And when I needed to use something like this that would go in a mixer, I just wouldn't opt to use it because, well, I didn't want to deal with it like overheating and smoking and acting like it was going to burn my house down. So I just learned to mix things by hand, and now I just kind of what I reach for. I have to get retrained. I do not have a KitchenAid anymore. I have a Bosch, and I can use it without it burning my house down. There we go. And this is going to get kind of bubbly. That's okay because we're just about to pour it in this large skillet here. I'm going to check on the comments to see if Anthony commented back. Berries. So does anybody know if $97 for 25 pounds einkorn berries is a good deal? My gut would tell me that's a little high. Like I said, I've never actually shopped for them. The cheapest place I found for any berries is Azure Standard. Okay, so now we're going to make the sauce. It's going to go in this back pan over here. I'm going to make my own tomato sauce, but you sure could buy it in a can. So it's 15 ounces of tomato sauce. And I'm just going to do, how much was that? 9 ounces of water and 1 can of tomato paste. I love berries though because they store for so much longer. And you can put them in long-term food storage if you're into that. All right, so I'm just gonna stir this around. We'll move you guys closer with risk of losing everybody here. Like I said, I'm just making tomato sauce because I don't have any. And last year, since my garden was an epic fail on the tomato front, I just stocked up on tomato paste. Because you can just add water and turn it into tomato sauce, and it's a lot cheaper. Okay, 1 can of tomato sauce. That's how easy that is. Now, to that, we're going to go ahead and add half of a cup of broth. Doesn't really matter what kind of broth. This is actually pork broth. We just need some broth. Sure, you could use water, but broth is just more nourishing. It's a way to add more nutrients to your food. Okay, so this pan is done over here. So I'm going to turn the heat off. I'm going to pour the sauce in. And we're going to add the rest of our ingredients here. So the key to getting the topping not to stick to your sourdough skillet is to have your sourdough skillet already hot. So I'm going to move rather quickly here. I'm going to add 2 cups of already cooked, fermented, and soaked beans. And I was supposed to grab the corn out of the freezer, but didn't, so I'll be right back. So this is whole frozen corn from Azure Standard. I've made sourdough from scratch before, but I would rather get your very active starter. Yeah, I love my starter. It's been going for like 12 years. Thank you for that order, Sharon. Appreciate it. Okay, so we need 1 cup of sweet corn. Like I said, this is frozen. You could use canned as well. It's about 1 can of corn, to be honest, because canned corn doesn't have much in it these days. So I'm just going to stir this. And this is just going to be our base. This is going to come together real quick. I had already preheated my oven to 400 degrees. We're just going to mix this well, because we don't want one kid getting all the beans and corn and everybody else getting the meat. So, okay, so we just mix it like that. Super easy. And then this is the topping we just mixed. And you guys can kind of see how foamy that is. Totally normal. That's the baking powder taking over the situation. You can totally do this in a 9x13 pan. This meal freezes great. Okay. So this is going to be somehow lifted into my oven. This gets really heavy when it's full. At 400 degrees and bake for 25 minutes. So let's see how this goes over without spilling. All right, here we go. It's my workout for the day. Oh, there we go. I always make sure to remove my silicone handles from my cast iron pots when I go to put them in the oven. Sure, they are oven proof, but then if you think about it, when you go to grab that pan, this is going to be hot. So I always try to make sure I take them off. All right, so that bakes, like I said, at 400 degrees, 25 minutes. And that is dinner. How easy that is. Super easy. Okay. I'm going to check comments. If you guys have anything you want to talk about tonight, put them in the comments. I'm going to chat for a while. Okay, so Anthony says, I checked Azure sells 5 for 28. That's 140 for 25. Oh, wow. So where are you getting the other price from, Anthony, if you don't mind sharing? Would you say 95 for 25? Who's selling that? Because I've got a friend who's after einkorn. And einkorn's good for you. It's just, I learned sourdough and with regular wheat, and it's a different process with einkorn, and so I kind of like having my stuff turn out, so I'm a little nervous to try anything else. I'm sure it's just a little bit different. It'll be just fine, but... And I know it's better for your gut because it's the original wheat. I actually have a local friend that used to grow it. I don't think she does anymore. I'm just putting my coconut oil back in here now that it's cooled off a little bit. Just in case you're new and you haven't watched my Azure haul videos, Azure Market expeller pressed coconut oil for cooking, the best deal I found so far on coconut oil. Even beats the price at Costco. I think it's down to $16 and something now for a whole gallon of coconut oil you can cook with. So super good deal. Make sure you check that out. Add it to your cart if you're a regular order of Azure Standard. I also had mentioned a few months ago about tomato powder. Would highly recommend that for everybody. Azure Standard sells that as well, but basically it's tomato powder that you add water to, and you can make tomato paste, tomato sauce, tomato juice, anything tomato. And I bought some, and I promise eventually I'll make some videos on how to make ketchup and pizza sauce and all of those things, because that's how I'm going to be putting up a large majority of our canned goods this year. It's just easier for me. I'm trying to rebuild the soil in my garden. I've got about half of my garden rebuilt really nice this year, but the other half needs some more help. And so we're working on the soil so that I can get the kind of bumper crops I used to get at our old house. So I always have to buy tomato products every year to supplement what I can grow, because the soil just isn't great, even with added fertilizer, even with added poop from animals and tons of mulch and water. It's just not as well as it was at my old garden, because, well, I had built the soil there for 5 years. So anyway, so this powder that Azure sells, just in case you missed it, it comes in a bag. They actually switched over to Mylar bags, which I appreciate, because for those of you who do long-term storage, it's amazing. But anyway, it calculates out to, I don't even have a 15-ounce can, but a 15-ounce, which is almost 2 cup, the larger jar of tomato sauce. When you make it using the tomato paste and add water, or sorry, the tomato powder, and add water, that 15-ounce can is only 33 cents. So that's cheaper than non-organic, the little tiny cans that are, what, 8 ounces or something? So super good deal. They sell that. I would highly recommend everybody go buy some. I think that from now on, even when my garden soil gets to bumper crop status, I will probably always keep some in the back of my pantry, because you just don't know. What if we get a horrible storm, or what if, and it destroys the plants, you know, and your harvest is down? It would just be a good thing to have, like a tomato insurance, and then that way that product is amazing. So anyway, eventually when these shelves back here empty out a little bit more with our ketchup and our pizza sauces and stuff, I will be making products with that tomato powder. Yes, Jackie, the tomato powder is organic. I don't think I have any down low enough. I'll go grab it. Hang on a second. It's way up on the top shelf. Hang on. Okay. There you go. Organic tomato powder. So I bought it in the 5-pound bag, but they do have a size smaller. I bought this back when I was pregnant last year before my miscarriage, and I bought it because I thought I'd be having a baby in July, and obviously I'm not, but when you're gonna have a summer baby, growing your own food kind of goes out the window, and so this was my way to feed my family without stocking up on a whole bunch of jars of tomato paste and stuff. And this takes up way less room, you guys. I think when I calculated this out, 5 pounds would make, how many was it? 40 quarts, I think, of sauce products. So, I mean, it doesn't, 40 quarts takes up like a whole one of my shelves back here. Right there. This doesn't take up very much room. So, just look into it. Okay. I just really enjoy this product. And the times I've used it, because I had some people who are questioning me, does it still taste good? Yes, it tastes just like the normal stuff that you have inside a can that you pop out to make any sauce that you could possibly want. I've never made it to use it to make tomato juice yet, but I don't use a ton of tomato juice in my soups. I usually use tomato sauce, and then broth. So, but anyway, I've loved this product. If you order from Azure Standard, this is a definite must. And like I said, they just switched to the Mylar, which thank you so much, because my first order of the 5 pounds came in plastic, which I'm going to have to vacuum seal that. It's on my to-do list, like number 152. Haven't gotten to it yet, but maybe eventually. This has a resealable, Jackie, at the top. So that's the other thing I love about the Mylar, is that it has a resealable. So you could put an oxygen absorber in the top and squeeze extra air out and close it, and it would keep it fresh. So yeah, that was the other thing I didn't like about those, the original stuff I ordered last year that came in plastic, because there was no way to reseal it. There was no way, I'd have to transfer it into my own Mylar bags and my own glass containers with oxygen absorbers. But anyway, good product. And this, like I said, it reseals, which I love. So check it out. Totally worth it. Good product. Anyway, other than that, down in the description box is my email, if you want to email me. My mailing address, if you want to send me a card or something. I also have an Amazon wish list if you want to surprise me with something. I've got all the links to all of my meal plans down there for planning meals for a month to heal your teeth, or what have you. Freezer meals for a busy family. And also, like I said, the link to my cookbook is down below. And there's been a price drop, so if you're interested, go grab it, okay? The link's down below. Also, Sourdough Starter, kefir grains. Oh, and a link to a really amazing company to buy liver capsules from, or emu oil for healing your teeth, or cod liver oil for daily health. So if you're interested in buying any of those things, the links are down below. Also, there's a link for Mountain Rose Herbs. I'm an affiliate for them now, so if you have to order any sort of herbs, if you use the link down below, it helps me. It doesn't cost you anything else. So all of those are down below. Oh, and the link for the Soleil water is down below as well. And that is the salt water that has been remineralizing my teeth like crazy and working really, really good. I actually just started another batch this morning. So this is what it looks like. Okay. So these are just the salt rocks I paid for. Like I said, the link's down below. I am not getting paid for that link, okay? Salt rocks, you fill it to the halfway point on your jar. And then this is just filtered water, okay? And so I started these this morning, and this jar will have to sit for 24 hours. And then this liquid on the top can be strained off, or you can remove the rocks and just use the liquid out of the jar at that point. So basically what you do is, the liquid on the top, you take 1 teaspoon and you add it to 8 ounces of water, and you drink that on an empty stomach. And it's been just amazing for my oral health. Super easy to make. And lasts a long time, because the link down below comes in a big, medium-sized box. And those rocks will probably last my family a good few years. So it's not a bad price. It's a great company. It's all hand-mined, no explosives. So check it out. It's down below. And that's about all I have for you. So as far as what the taco bake's going to look like when it comes out, that sourdough batter that we poured on top is going to rise up, okay? And the top will become golden brown. So it's going to be like, almost like a pot pie, but it's sourdough on top. And then when you cut into it, it's going to have the taco meat and the corn and the beans and all the yummy stuff down below. So anyway, that is an amazing meal. And like I said, it only bakes for 25 minutes. So in about another 15 minutes, we're going to have dinner. So I'm going to check the comments for questions. If nobody has any, I'm going to run. All right. You're welcome, Sharon. Thanks for your order, honey. I think I grabbed everybody else. Anthony, you must have jumped off. I was hoping that you would type where that deal was that you found. Anthony, if you get back on after the live, can you please type down in the comments where that deal was for einkorn, please? All right, so thank you so much. I know Kathy's on, Sharon's on, Jackie's on, Anthony, thanks for jumping on. And I think that's everybody. Jackie, I think I said you already, and Sharon, I think I said you already. So thank you so much, you guys. I'll catch you guys next week. Have a good night.